Hi all and welcome to Falsification Exercise number 2. I am Waldemar, chess trainer and teacher. So, last time I left you with Falsification Exercise number 1. There was a bit of an introduction to the theme of falsification and so on, and I left you with this particular position and the question: what would you play if you had to choose from two moves? So the first option is c4 takes d5, and the other option that I gave you was castles. Well, thanks very much for the reactions below the YouTube video. There were a number of people that reacted, also on Facebook. Thank you for that. And well, let's get right down to the discussion of what I think is the correct answer. So somebody suggested in the comments that castles is probably the correct move, and heck, why not, right? You're bringing your king into safety, you're sort of finishing the opening, even though preferably you still want to give your queen something to do, connect your rooks and maybe post them up on the c-file, what have you. But I'm afraid that this move is a little bit too much of a schablonenhaft move, and it doesn't really take into account the possible replies of the opponent. So if you had chosen castles, then I don't think that you properly falsified this move. So you didn't really try to what's the word? Well, to falsify it or to invalidate it. That's the word that I was looking for. Now, how on earth can you invalidate a move? It's simple. That's by looking at your opponent's possible replies. Last time I stressed, and I will do it again, the value of your move lies in the possible replies of your opponent. And normally that has to do with your weaknesses as well. So if we take a look at this position after castles, we notice that white has two unprotected pieces. They're targets for his opponent, in this case black. So what you should be looking at is, can black make immediate use of that? And de Grotowski commented that indeed he can, by playing here bishop a5, hitting the knight on c3. And this really is a bit of a problem, because white now only has a choice out of a number of awkward moves that he would rather not play if he had the opportunity not to. So probably best here is something like b4, just blocking the attack against the knight. But then of course after, let's say, bishop c7, and let's take on c5 and move our knight to b3 so we can jump into c5 because we have a nice outpost over there, right? Then black could reply along the lines of queen d6, already threatening mate on h2, and you'll have to defend against that with g3. But then after h7, h5, black is really preparing some tricky play against white's king. And last but not least, the other main reason you don't really want to put a pawn on b4, a dark square, is that now your bishop on a3 looks really silly. And it's very difficult to see how this piece will ever join in the game. If this piece is ever to join the game, then it would be along the lines of maybe such a move, and such a move maybe, and then hopefully you will be able to move up your f-pawn, and then maybe the bishop can go to f2, or maybe, but that's all complete science fiction of course, the bishop could go to g3. Well, I mean, you're never going to achieve that as white. First of all, it takes way too long, and second of all, you have to push the pawns on your king side in order to achieve this. And this is not the area of the board where you're supposed to play, because this is the area of the board where black has trained all his active pieces. And black would be actually very happy to see you opening up the king side, because it would be all the more easy for him to simply crush you on that side of the board. So b4 is not really an option after bishop a5, the strong reply by black. So then what's left? Well, why don't I just simply protect the knight with rook c1, right? I'm developing the rook, protecting the knight, but then, oops, b4 is a fork against the bishop on a3 and the knight on c3. So that's simply illegal, as the strong top players used to say, would say. So that's also not an option, right? Well, then what's left? Something ugly, maybe, like retreating the knight? Knight to b1? Yeah, okay, but then, I mean, is that the way we're supposed to play an opening? With white even? Let's say now black continues with f5, preparing something very healthy like knight f6 and castles. And black will have a very strong center here. He will have space advantage, and later on still very good opportunities, I think. Maybe when he, for instance, retreats the bishop to start an attack against white's already castled king, which is sitting rather vulnerably and very immobile here on g1. And of course he can, well, he can support that attack with moves such as knight g4, and who knows, maybe even a rook lift later on after he has castled, you know, stuff like this. So I would definitely prefer the black position here. Look at those pieces, they're all tangled up, right? Okay, black has to be a little bit careful because this one is taking a look at the other side of the board. But I think that black can just simply play around that bishop. Some care is needed, but not too much, I think. Okay, well, let's get rid of all the colors. Probably the most decent move left after bishop a5 is then a rather sad retreat of the bishop to b2. Of course, I say sad because the bishop is also not really well placed here, because it is basically targeting his own pawn, and it wanted to go outside the pawn chain so that it could influence a black's half of the board. But probably bishop b2 is best. But then again, after f5, white's dark square bishop has been driven back, while black has improved his position. So it's the fact that black, after castles on the first move, can play the strong reply bishop a5 that falsifies castles on the first move. Now that doesn't mean that the correct move is c takes d5, right? Because we still have to falsify c takes d5 as well. Maybe that move is even clearly worse than castles on the first move, right? So always be careful with the process of elimination. If you see that one move is bad, it doesn't mean that the other move is better. The other move may be better, but could also be even worse than the first alternative you looked at, right? So now let's try and falsify c takes d5. Now, if black plays bishop a5 along the same lines, then we do have this move, b4. Now it makes much more sense, because not only are we attacking the bishop, in the process we have also already gained a pawn. So now let's suppose the bishop goes back. We might even take a second pawn, and again, let's suppose that black maybe recaptures this guy. Then we might even take a third pawn here on e4. And of course this position is completely winning for white, because he's up 2 pawns. And he also doesn't have to worry too much about his bishop anymore. Not that it is of any relevance really, because later on he will be able to bring the bishop back via b2, just push his pawn, and then he will be able again to influence the opponent's half of the board. So therefore, after c takes d, black really is well advised to simply recapture here with the pawn. I wouldn't really recapture with the knight, because if you take with the knight, then of course e4 is again en prise and you could win this beautiful central pawn. So the best move here after c takes d5 is simply c takes d5. And now, before castling, when maybe bishop a5 with similar consequences would happen, white first plays bishop c5, solidifying the bishop on the outpost, making sure that it will never be blocked in by the b pawn if and when the b pawn has to move forward, and obtaining a rather good version of a French defense with reversed colors. So in this case we were not really able to falsify the c takes d5 move. We tried to invalidate this alternative, but well, we didn't manage. And now, only now, when we compare this move to castles and we evaluate the outcome of both alternatives, it turns out that c takes d5 is clearly the better move and the way to go for white. So if you chose c takes d5 as the first move, then I think for this particular position you chose the correct answer. Well, okay, having said that, let's move on to falsification exercise number 2. So here is the next puzzle for you. In this position it is white to move. My question to you is, what do you play? And you will have a choice of 2 alternatives. The first alternative is rook a to c1, and the other one is a2 a3. Which move would you play? And remember, take into account your opponent's replies, because they, more often than not, they will show you the way. And in a way we can be very thankful for that, because it makes chess easier, you know, especially when we're doubting strongly if we should play the one move or the other, when things are not so clear, right? Then you can just find the information in the position. And the leading principle is the value of your move lies in your opponent's possible replies. So take them into account, and then maybe it's just easier for you to falsify one of your alternatives and come to the conclusion that of course you should play the other move, and that only makes your chess more easy. Okay, well, with that we've come to the end of this video. As always, please like and subscribe. Leave your comments below the video. I'm interested to hear your opinion on this position, see what move you will choose. And of course, if you want to improve your chess, please visit betteryourchess.com, become a member of our university, or contact me in person. Because I'm a chess trainer, it's what I do best, and I really enjoy working with ambitious and aspiring chess players to become stronger. Thank you for your attention, and see you in the next video. Bye!